We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends if you want to support this college football rebel outpost with a donation. Hit the $ where you make a comment, and I'll get to your super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio, even RedBird Capital. You are welcome into the studio that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to be a legend. With your comments in the chat room and with your phone calls later in the show. Excuse me. My voice is going out a little bit. I did a 2.5 hour live show yesterday on this program, PATC, and then I had the fortunate opportunity to join Moen and Daniel Gygax and the great Coos Corner, Justin Walker, on the College Football Mafia show and talk for another couple hours. So the voice is leaving me just a little bit, but I think we're going to have enough juice. I don't know. I'm going to say something here. We believe that we might have picked something up on the security cameras inside the Holy Smokes Theater. Now, our investigative reporter, Jerry, has been running around, poking and prodding, trying to figure out, did somebody sneak into the theater after RedBird Capital strolled through the front foyer, through the front doors, and into the theater, and all eyes were on RedBird Capital. But somebody else who might have been wearing a costume, who might have been suited up, in a maroon and gold, and no, it's not Minnesota affiliated costume. Those are the colors for those who work at the Holy Smokes Theater. Maroon and gold. Somebody disguised themselves. Somebody snuck in. Our cameras, we might have picked up on something. And I am going to report to you all what we picked up on. And I don't know where this is going. I do not know where this is going. Remember, who is in the theater right now? Who is in the theater right now? Remember, we've got Big 12 Brett Yormark standing up there. We said, look, we started this on December 4th, 2024. We believe it was going to be the invasion of private equity, but it's going to be private capital, strategic partnership, however you want to call it. But we knew this was coming on in, but I told you over and over and over, and I don't know how it's coming in. I don't know when it's coming in, and I'm going to be taking a lot of L's on this story. I have been transparent. I have let everybody know how difficult this is. There is a lot of rumors, even among the chattering class, those who report on this stuff. I think some people have been swept up by some rumors that they've heard, the Monty show being one of them, that didn't really have any truth or traction to it. I know I've heard a bunch of stuff. Now the Big 12, we talked about it, the Big 12, Brett Yormark, trying to herd the cats, trying to get everybody on board for a conference level deal. That rumor, that wasn't just rumor. There was fire, there's smoke, and now we finally get the report of Ross Dellinger. And I'm going to tell you something here. Again, I'm going to say this. Who was in the theater? First of all, let's get this. Who's in the theater? Well, Brett Yormark, obviously. The Big 12 institutions, obviously. Bubba Cunningham is in the theater, obviously. I'm going to throw Wake Forest in there. I'm going to throw Syracuse in there. I'm going to throw Duke in there. I'm going to throw Florida State in there. I'm going to throw Clemson in there. Am I comfortable in saying anything else? Syracuse, Wake Forest, North Carolina, Florida State, Clemson, Duke. It's about 6. Let's just stop right there. I think you get the point. And then, we had a big, massive update a couple weeks ago. A shocker that Tony Petitti has entered into the Holy Smokes Theater, the invasion of private capital, and now we're calling it that. And that, look, I did not have that. Nobody that I talked to had that. I took the big L. I knew I was going to, and that ain't going to be the last L that I take. I warned everybody about this. This is not one of those. This is one of those. I say, this is not one of those. This is one of those. it's we got NDAs, we got everything going on here, guys. This is so button up. Obviously, Ross Dellinger got the okay to leak what he leaked. I got a feeling there are a couple other reporters sitting on some stuff, but they cannot put it out until it becomes real official, or they get the okay to leak it. We were told something. We caught something on camera. We were told to buckle up, and we are going to report that to you later in the monologue. We believe we caught somebody on camera entering into the Holy Smokes Theater for the very first time when it comes to the drama of the invasion of private money, private capital, private investment. Okay, but first, we're going to do the roll call, and we are going to do a segment that we were going to do yesterday, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think you guys are going to have to exercise your college football minds before we enter in the Holy Smokes Theater later in the show. We're all going to go in there. We're all going to look at the tape. Well, I only can describe to you what was on the images, the cameras, the security cameras at the Holy Smokes Theater. But we're going to go into the theater together. We are going to check it out. I'm going to give you some information, and I don't know what to make of it. But there is some smoke, some other smoke when it comes to the private capital invasion. Okay. But we're going to do a roll call, and then we're going to do the old, would you rather have this quarterback or that quarterback for the 2025 season? Not for 26, not for 24, but only for this season. If you were a head coach of a football program, would you rather have, and we're going to have some fun with it. First of all, let's do a roll call. We're going to do would you rather have, and then we are going to enter into the Holy Smokes Theater together. The Walking Geek is in the house. Chad Bracey is here. Matt Neeson, the Mountaineer, Big Ears Bo, Oklahoma State Cowboy, MBM, the Buckeye, Caleb Ramirez, the Longhorn, Larry, the GM, KS Bear fan, Holy Smokes. Supper time with Greg, CFB Plus, good afternoon. Rock Chalk Jayhawks, Vox Quindaro, John Boxleitner. No, not UNC to the Big 12. Nope, don't let the graphics fool you. Holy smokes, a live show for the ride home 2 days in a row. Lee is in the catbird seat. Tumasta, RedBird Mafia. John Dry is in the house. Greg, CFP Plus. Greg, in your opinion, how accurate were my thoughts last night? I think you were absolutely brilliant, CFP Plus. Absolutely brilliant. Good job. Jose is in the house. The Fighting Illini Ted. Is the theater negotiating a PE deal as well? Welcome to the RedBird Holy Smokes Theater. Look, I'm going to tell you guys something. The fat guy from Minnesota is open for business. If somebody wants to come in and say, look, I'm willing to do this or that for the naming rights of the Holy Smokes Theater. Excuse me, I still got this cough. I'm willing to deal, baby. I am willing to deal. If you are willing to send me a 12-pack of zero sugar cherry Coca-Cola for the naming rights of the Holy Smokes Theater, we can talk. I'm not going to give it over to RedBird. I'm not going to do that. I got the keys, Keith Moore. Greetings from Greensboro, North Carolina, the Go Heels, the Jordan brand. Holy smokes. John Dry is in the house. Sean is here. Jay Chapman. Tumasta says UCONN. John Dry says a P3, not a P2. The Amazing Blue. Good evening, Greg. Hey, on, go blue. Ryan Brooks, LSU Tiger. Just stopping in to say hello before going to see the Reba concert. Wow. Maroon or Garnett? James Davis is here. Clemson Tiger. Bo Weevil. Oh, Maroon or Garnett? I think you're talking about who. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. Expedition Gray. Petiti is in the Holy Smokes Theater. No question about it. Laura Weiss, Texas Tech Red Raider is in the house. Still Austin is here. My goodness. A lot of people have arrived early on a Friday, lazy afternoon. Kenneth Maynor, Wake Forest is low-keyed. Smoke-filled room, powerful, plenty of backers. And they are pro private capital or whatever you want to call this. And they have been. They have been. So has Duke and a few others in the ACC. And they are in the theater. They have been in the theater. And North Carolina is up at the stage. Bubba Cunningham is standing next to Brett Yormark. And you see what Brett Yormark just pulled off. Or is about to pull off. Now, the other side of that stage is Bubba Cunningham. The other side of that stage is you got ACC schools. Some of them, I've named 6 of them, sitting in the rows in front of Bubba Cunningham. Maybe we'll get to that later. Maybe we won't. We shall see. R. Webb is in the house. Nathan Campbell is here. Ryan Thomas, stop the expansion of American cheese on our burgers. Absolutely. No appeasement to Big Dairy. No more appeasement to Big. Ryan Thomas is the only person who understands the psychotic mind of the fat guy from Minnesota. No question about it. Kenneth Maynor is in the house. Kraft Cheese Holy Smokes Theater. Jeff Morgan is in the house. Carlton Hurdle is here. Joaquin Morales. Been a minute since I've been able to catch a live show and smash that like button. John Dry, Healing, Florida. Okay, here we go. Let's get to it. We were going to get to this yesterday, but we had live breaking news during a live show. Keep your head on a swivel because we might have live breaking news during this show when it comes to what is going on in the Holy Smokes Theater. So keep your head on a swivel. Let me know in the chat room. Send me a DM if we've got breaking news once again. And we often do here at PATC when we're doing a live show. Let's have some fun first before we enter into the dramatic, the tense Holy Smokes Theater. Sam Levitt, Arizona State Sun Devil. Arizona State Sun Devil quarterback. An incredible football season last year. He looked absolutely fantastic. Now, we're not going to do this in a poll setting. I'm not going to produce a poll. I just want you to throw down the name in the chat. Throw down the name in the chat room. You got one shot. Throw it down. We'll count them up, and we'll see who in the PATC family. Sam Levitt threw 2,800 yards last year, 24 touchdowns. He ran for over 400 yards, led Arizona State to the Big 12 championship. Avery Johnson, Kansas State, a popular breakout pick for 24. He ran for 605 yards, 2,700 touchdowns. Would you rather have for the 2025 season, for one season, the season that's coming up, to be your quarterback, Sam Levitt or Avery Johnson? Who would you rather have, Levitt or Johnson? For 225, for the 2025 season, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. We've got 3 Johnsons. And we've got 3 Levitts. We got 4 Johnsons. We got 4 Levitts. We got 5 Levitts. We've got 4 Johnson. We got 6 Levitts. We got 7 Levitts. We've got 8 Levitts. Sam Levitt or Avery Johnson for the 2025 season. We've got another Johnson, 5. Joaquin Morales says Sam all day and night. Big Ears Bo, I think we've got a decision made by the PATC family. Sam Levitt, would you rather have Sam Levitt or Avery Johnson? The PAT family goes with Sam Levitt. Helmer Henderson, do you see 20 as the optimum number of teams for the Big Ten? With regard to scheduling, determining champion, etc., did ESPN put their finger on Miami's scheduling scale to benefit SEC? I don't know about the latter part of that. I don't know anything about that. The first part of your super chat, the 20 would be the optimum number when it comes to scheduling, determining champ. And I think 20 is a great number, right? I think we can all see that. You have a lot of options with 20. You know, you can go into your 5-team pods, 4 pods of 5 teams, or you don't have to. It works in a lot of ways. But I don't know if that's the number that the Big Ten will stop at, because depending on what happens in the future, depending on if there is a breakaway, like a complete breakaway where the Big Ten and the SEC break away with each other, then I can see the Big Ten going over 20. Or if the Big Ten, if something radical happens and the SEC decides to go off their own way, their own universe, the Big Ten and the SEC butt heads, and I can see the Big Ten going off on their complete own. Again, the Big Ten will probably go over 20. But in this world, and if this world keeps the way it is in college football with the Power 4 structure, I think 20 is the optimum number. Thank you, Helmer Henderson. I appreciate it. Michigan Wolverine. Appreciate your generosity once again. The other part, I don't know anything about it. But thank you for the super chat. Thank you once again for your incredible generosity. Holy smokes. Oklahoma State Cowboy. MBM gifted 20 memberships. 20 memberships. My goodness. Unbelievable generosity. I got the keys, Keith Moore. Amazing Blue. MGC Sooner. Lee Espestox. Dallas Marquez. OT Hicks Sr. RT. Kenneth Stromness. Jacobra Cat. Sam 8911. King Spleen. John Dean. Richard Brookins. Kevin Fox. The Mad Hatter. Susan Struthers. The Patrick Baylor Bear. You are all knighted. All of you are knighted. Cloak and Dagger. Please, when you get the opportunity, please say thank you to MBM, Mr. Cowboy. Thank him for your generosity. Wow. Unbelievable. And all of you that are now a member of our program, you can go into our library and check out the early peak Cloak and Dagger episodes, membership only episodes. Give it a look, and all the other episodes that we have produced, 423 other episodes. Give it a look. Thank you, MBM. Unbelievable generosity. Wow. Hammer Hennison and MBM getting off to a good start. Wow, wow, wow. MG Sooner, thank you, MBM. Okay, so that was the first one. Now that you got a taste of what we're doing here, we got some more interesting matchups. Again, this is the Big 12 Quarterbacks edition. Once a week, at least once a week, we're going to move to the SEC quarterback, the Big 10 quarterbacks, ACC quarterbacks. We're going to go into the running back, wide receiver, head coaches. You get it? Sawyer Robertson. Would you rather have Sawyer Robertson, Baylor? Now, hold on, everybody. Okay, Sawyer Robertson. Sorry about that. I got a message, family stuff here. Hold on. Sawyer Robertson, Baylor Bears. This guy, for me, came out of nowhere. I had no idea he was going to be the guy, the QB1 for the Baylor Bears last year. And I don't think he became QB1 until the second, third, fourth game of the season. I don't think he was QB1 at the beginning of the season. He threw for over 3,000 yards. Ran for about 200 plus. Sawyer Robertson, a lot of optimism. Baylor, 9 wins. So did TCU, by the way. Josh Hoover. You saw his potential at the end of the 23 season. And last year, he put some good stuff together. 3,900 yards. 27 touchdowns. Over 300 yards a game passing. Would you rather have Sawyer Robertson or Josh Hoover for your quarterback for the 2025 season? Robertson or Hoover, put their name down in the chat room. The first would you rather have, it was Sam Levitt over Avery Johnson. We got ourselves a Sawyer, a Hoover, Robertson 2, 3-3, 4-4, 5-4 Hoover, 6-4 Hoover. It looks like Hoover's got the edge. Hoover, Robertson, who would you rather have? Robertson or Hoover? Hoover got another one. It looks like the edge is going to Josh Hoover. The PATC family has spoke. They would rather have Hoover than Robertson going in to the 2025 season. Rocco Becht, Iowa State Cyclones, led the Cyclones to the Big 12 championship game. 27 starts over the last 2 seasons. He's got all the credentials. He has faced the live bullets. He's thrown over 6,600 yards, completed 60% of his passes, 48 touchdowns, got a whole lot of experience. But what about Jake Retzlaff? Retzlaff led BYU to a magical season, almost getting to the Big 12 championship game. He edged out. He barely won the QB1 job for BYU. Threw 2,900 yards, 20 touchdowns. He ran for over 400 yards, doing it with his legs when he needed to get it done. Who would you rather have for the 25 season? Rocco Becht or Jake Retzlaff? We've got two Roccos. It looks like we got a Retzlaff. We got another Rocco and another Rocco. Put down the name in the chat, and who would you rather have? Mr. Becht, Mr. Retzlaff, and it looks like it's going to be Rocco Becht. That seems to be the consensus. The PATC family has spoken. Baron Morton, Texas Tech Red Raiders. Texas Tech Red Raiders. The Red Baron. Morton threw for 3,300 yards, 27 touchdowns, 63% on his passes. He's going to be a senior. Now, he is going to have I believe I don't know when he's going to have surgery. He's going to have surgery at some point here. Somebody let me know in the chat. So that's going to have to be in your decision making. Is he going to return as full strength? But when he is on the Red Baron Morton or Jalen Daniels of Kansas. Now, Daniels is a guy who's suffered from injuries, missed the 2023 season. He probably missed Andy Koltenicky, who went off to Penn State last year. He still accounted for over 240 yards a game, right? So, look, 2025 might be the year for Jalen Daniels. Who would you rather have? Baron Morton for the 2025 season or Jalen Daniels? Morton or Daniels? Put it in the chat. Laura Weiss says he already had that surgery. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate it. Amax says Baron, but McCheese says Daniel. Nathan says Daniel. Jose says Morton. Stephen Morton. Amazing Blue, Jalen. Biggers Bo, Daniels. Taytown Hawk, Jayhawk. Vox, Jalen. Swanger, Daniels. Wow. Jalen Daniels has taken the lead. My goodness. I was not expecting that. I'm going to give you all 5 more seconds. You put down one name. Would you rather have Morton or Daniels? Expedition Greg says Daniels. Wow. Wow. I don't know about this, guys. I don't know. Okay, we're going to go with Daniels here. The PATC family has spoken. I think Rock Chalk Jayhawk Nation is drinking the Kool-Aid. I don't know, guys. I do not know. I think the PATC, we're going to revisit this. Noah Fafita, Arizona. Now, a lot of people are picking Arizona to come in last place in the Big 12 or near last place. Arizona or Houston. He threw for 2,800 yards, 25 touchdowns in 23. Last year, it did not go all that good for Noah Fifita. Can he get the magic back at Arizona? Devin Dampier. Now, let's be honest here. Dampier has not faced this type of competition. Devin Dampier is going to be Utah's QB1 under Kyle Whittingham. He had a great season last year for New Mexico. Over 2,700 yards, 12 touchdowns. But he is going up in level of competition. Who would you rather have for the 25 season? Fifita or Dampier? Let me know in the comments section. Put one name down. Dampier or Fifita? We've got a slight edge with Fifita, Noah Fifita. We did the Rocco Becht versus Jake Retzlaff, and Rocco Becht got the nod from the PATC family. Okay, Fifita has won this over Dampier, and I don't look. It could be Dampier with the better season, but I do not blame the PATC family for giving Fifita the nod. Connor Weigman, who is no longer at Texas A&M, obviously, right? He's with the Houston Cougars with Willie Fritz. He's had some injuries. He threw for 2,600 yards and 19 touchdowns for Texas A&M. I loved him in high school. I talked about him, his high school tape, but he's been injured. And now he's going to give Houston a shot here. Connor Weigman or Kaidon Salter. Now, Salter was the dynamic quarterback at Liberty. He is stepping up. Much like Dampier, Salter is stepping up in class. And he's probably, most likely, going to be the Colorado Buffaloes QB1. Now, he's going to have a little bit of a battle there, but it looks like to be Salter. Would you rather have Weigman or Salter as your 2025 quarterback? Stephen Vitt, Ohio Bobcats, says Salter. Amazing Blue, Salter. Nathan Campbell is taking Connor Weigman. Weigman for McCheese. Man, we've got a tie where Salter, Expedition Gray. Salter. Okay, it looks like we've got Salter as the winner. We're going to do one more. Would you rather have Cincinnati Bearcat to transfer from over a year ago from the Indiana Hoosiers, Brendan Sorsby? Now, you guys know how much I like this move that the Bearcats did in picking up Sorsby. Sorsby helped the Cincinnati's passing game show an improvement last year. He threw for 2,800 yards, 18 touchdowns, ran for over 440 yards, and 9 scores on the ground. He had a real good year, and I think a lot of people are hoping that he goes to a whole nother level. Brennan Sorsby, would you rather have Brennan Sorsby or Nico Marchio, West Virginia? Now, the problem is I didn't know what name to put up here for West Virginia. I've got people telling me it's going to be Jalen Henderson that is going to win the starting job. Jalen Henderson was with Fresno State. Then he went to Texas A&M. But I like Nico Marchio. I loved his high school tape in Arizona. He's been battling behind Garrett Green. I'm going to use Nico Marchio for this exercise. Would you rather have Brennan Sorsby or Nico Marchio? Put it down in the chat. Sorsby, Expedition Greg. Sorsby, Stormy Cyclone. Sorsby, Mayor McCheese. Nico, Mountaineer, Big Ears Bo. Jimmy says Sorsby. Jim Farrell, Nico. Swanger, Sorsby. Jeff Morgan, Nico. Campbell, West Virginia. Marchio, Jose Marchio, Vit Marchio. We got Sorsby. This is close. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got it all tied up. This is our closest battle, the last one we're going to have. Would you rather have Sorsby or Marchio? And we're going to go with Sorsby because Buffalo OK State just put Sorsby. Sorsby is the winner by an eyelash, an absolute eyelash. I hope you had fun with that. It makes you... I think it's a good exercise. We're going to be doing it every week, at least once a week. Would you rather have? We're exploring the team's quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. Would you now? So next week, I think we're going to do the SEC quarterbacks. Would you rather have Arch Manning, or would you rather have Gunnar Stockton? I think that's going to be. It should be a landslide. It should be a landslide. Would you rather have Lenore Sellers or would you rather have... I'm trying to figure out a... Taylon Green, the quarterback of Arkansas. Something like that. We're going to do it. We're going to have some fun. It makes you think and lets your mind marinate as we head into the long off season here in college football. Okay. Now we're going to head into the Holy Smokes Theater. And then we're going to take your phone calls, whatever you want to talk about. Whatever you want to talk about in college football, the floor is yours when you give us a call. RedBird Capital. As we were doing a live show last night, and there was breaking news. Ross Dellinger. Holy smokes. In the coming weeks, Brett Yormark, the athletic directors, the Big 12 presidents are going to be making a decision on bringing private capital, yes or no, into the Big 12. And it sounds like RedBird Capital is the favorite, the leader, the one who might get the bid. Now, an option is, and we got to be honest here, there also is an option for the Big 12 to turn all the bids down, right? To turn them all down. I would put my chips in the middle of the table that they're probably going to do something here. I mean, this is the final bids. It sounds like they're at the 5-yard line, and I think they're probably going to push it home. And what does this deal, what are the details? There's no way to know. I have been told a couple of things, very general things. One is that it's not going to be just a loan, right? It's not going to be just a loan. And oh, by the way, you got to pay us back a 10% interest rate. I mean, these institutions can borrow money at a very low rate. They're not going to go to Red Capital to get a loan. What they're buying, what they want is a partnership. They want a partnership. They want RedBird Capital and all the contacts, all the business that can flow into the Big 12. That's what they want. And I said, the last thing I said on the College Football Mafia show last night with Moen and Daniel Gygax and Coos Corner, the very last thing I said was, you can think this is going to end up being a good deal for the Big 12. You can think this is going to end up being a bad deal for the Big 12. Or you can be like me and you have no idea. But you should not believe the following, that the Big 12 schools are the only ones interested in having a partnership, a strategic partnership with a private capital, private investors. No way, no how. They are the ones that are leading the charge. They're the ones that are, Brett Yormark is up on the stage. We've been saying this for months. The Big 12 had the ability to be the first ones off the block. But there are other schools out there that want this option. There are other schools out there that want to, they're believers in this. They've looked at it. They've got people, there are people scattered all about these board of trustees, the boosters, and some of these universities that are in private capital. To them, it is not a scary thing. If they see a certain market that they believe that they can turn a profit for their client and for them, they're all in, and they see college sports as that market for now. Having said all that, we have been saying for weeks, months, that the ACC is going to struggle to have an option. It has been reported that Florida State and 6th Street had talks, but then they had to push back on each other and say, no, we can't really do this because of Florida State's situation in the courts. There's also been other reports, and the chatter has been very loud on this at the ACC. There are schools in the ACC that do want to go forward with some private capital. There are ACC schools that are consistently going to these meetings. You remember when I said a couple months ago or a month and a half ago, I said there is a private capital, private equity, whatever you want to call it, meeting that's going to happen in early spring of 2025, and that there's going to be Big 12 schools and ACC schools that are going there. Well, I don't think the Big 12 schools are going to show up because I think they're on their way. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if the ACC schools are going to show up. But anyways, there are ACC schools that have consistently gone to these meetings, that have consistently talked pro-equity, pro-capital, whatever you want to call it. And I was told late last night, and I'm talking late, before midnight, that even though I've been saying for weeks and months that the ACC is going to struggle to get something, I was told do not be completely shocked if they scramble something together. Now, I was hinted at this shortly after this breaking story. It is why I brought it up at the College Football Mafia show last night. I kind of batted around the idea of the ACC. Maybe they can do something if it's contingent on Florida State and Clemson leaving the courts. All I had at the time was a message and a blurb. But then after that show, later on in the night, I had a long conversation. And here is what was told to me. Brett Yormark is out in front because he's been working it. He's been aggressive. He's a visionary. He was able to do this, at least to get it to the 5-yard line where other parties are not at the 5-yard line. But I was told the following. Greg. These things do not happen in a vacuum. You saw what the Big Ten did, or what they're working on. Remember that the reports on the Big Ten also had something to do with final pass around, final wheel around the wheel of fortune, like the final bids to let these private capital firms telling the Big Ten what they can do for them when it comes to carrying some events, whatever. I don't think it's that. These deals are going to come in all different sizes and shapes, and I don't think the Big Ten deal is going to look anything like the Big 12 deal. But what I'm saying is, or what I was told last night, is this stuff isn't happening in a vacuum. Brett Yormark is leading it. There are G5 conferences that are out ahead, and we believe the Mountain West and the ACC are two of those. But there is a lot of difficulties in the ACC. We've talked about it for months. I don't have to go through it again in this monologue. When you got two of the top football brands suing the conference, and you got the conference suing back, and all these things that are going on, the rulings of the Florida State Supreme Court yesterday or the day before, when both sides are winning their serves in their home state courts, and this is going to go on forever, not forever, going to go on for a while. You got a lot of hurdles for the ACC to do one of these deals, right? At a conference level, right? Even at a school level. Because of the instability of the ACC, the courts. But again, I was told, and I was surprised, like the ACC, these schools, some of these schools have invested a lot of time talking. They've been calling these firms. There's been some subgroups. There've been some. North Carolina is right there in the middle. They're rattling the cages. And you've got this announcement coming out of the Big 12. They got it at the 5-yard line. We're not talking the ACC deal. If they're going to get a conference deal, is going to be as good, as effective, as quality as the Big 12 deal. But I was told I got to start thinking differently. That there's too many powerful, and I'm not talking like, there's too many successful people in their lanes in the ACC country. There's too many of them that are too pro-private capital. So something is going to bust. Something is going to happen. But it probably cannot happen at the scale that Brett Yormark is going about to punch into the end zone. Although we don't know what that scale is, right? But something probably is going to happen. Again, I wish I could tell you, but I can't because I don't know. And the person who was talking to me says, there has been too many actors acting in the way, I should have said that. Because that person's, there has been too much I'm trying to put it in a way that makes sense here. There has been too much coal that have been shoveled into the steam engine for this not to happen. For the steam engine train not to get down the tracks a little bit. What would it look like? I don't know. I mean, is North Carolina going to have their own school, some sort of setup, some sort of private capital deal? To pay the Bill Belichick? Is there going to be something tied to Bill Belichick? There's so many rumors out there. But we're being told, Greg, do not expect a complete shutdown of all ACC activity with private capital. Even though 2 schools are being sued, the 2 top branded schools in football, and they're suing the conference. Even though all that is happening, even if they can't do what the Big 12 can, do not completely shut the door. Greg, there is too much chatter. This stuff doesn't happen in a vacuum. So I'm like, well, again, I'm surprised. Again, I'm like, and of course I said, give me something direct, give me something more. Give me something more. Give me something more. I need something more. This person gave me something more at the very end of the long conversation. And he says, I even believe, this person's telling me, I even believe that there is something that Jim Phillips has. There is something that he's working on. There's something going on. It might be just a little piece of something. It might have to do with the Arizona. It might have to do something with the Florida State Clemson deal, get them out of the course. But there is probably most likely something, and it's a Jim Phillips, not just a standalone school. Something is circling. Now, I could also tell the frustration of this long conversation because I could tell the person has been working on it, and I don't think it was something like, because I can't tell you, Greg, because I don't trust. I think the person honestly doesn't know what it is, but there has been too much rattling of the cages of North. There's just too much activity. Too much coal being put in the steam engine. Greg, you should not expect a total shutdown of no activity coming out of the ACC. They're not going to be able to do what the Big 12 can do. And maybe the gap is going to be so big that it doesn't even matter if the ACC does something. But don't expect a zero. Look, the Big 10, as this person reminded me, the Big 10 went from, we don't need any of this stuff. Suddenly they're having the last go around with these banks or these capital firms, and they're gonna have some sort of strategic partnership. Remember, the Big 10 in their communication, when Sportico reported this, the Big 10 used the phrase strategic partnership. It looks like the Big 10 is willing to have a partnership with somebody with expertise, with connections, that is going to take some activity some revenue stream away from the Big Ten and say, you got it, you make us more money, you can make yourself more money. If the Big Ten is doing that, if the Big 12 is at the 5-yard line, and you've got all this rumors, smoke that is going up in Chapel Hill, especially Florida State, Clemson, Wake Forest, you got a lot of activity going on. So, Greg, do not shut the door on the ACC. So, I don't say they're going to get shut out, because they're probably not going to get shut out. And I've been saying they're going to get shut out. It looks like I've been wrong. It looks like I'm going to have to take the L. I'm giving you the little peek tonight, February 28th. So, the Holy Smokes Theater's camera, when Red Capital Partners went strolling confidently with a cane in his hand, swirling it, as he walked through the front foyers. The big doors are open for him. He walked down the center of the Holy Smokes Theater. There's Brett Yormark with a big grin on his face up at the stage. There's Bubba Cunningham on the left side with a frown up on his face. RedBird Capital sits in the front row looking at Brett Yormark. Somebody else snuck in the Holy Smokes Theater. Somebody else snuck in the Holy Smokes Theater. We got an image of him. We took the picture. We did a face recognition. PATC face recognition, high technology we use in the Holy Smokes Theater. And it looks like Jim Phillips snuck in to the Holy Smokes Theater. He's sitting in the last row, in the corner. You remember, we've got 40 rows in the Holy Smokes Theater. Mr. Jim Phillips, for the first time in this drama, the invasion of private capital, is in the 40th row in the corner. And there are about 6 ACC schools that are sitting in the theater. Wake Forest, Syracuse, Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, Duke. They're sitting there. And Jim Phillips is in the 40th row. So, I ain't saying, but I'm saying, I should not completely shut the door down on ACC's involvement when it comes to private capital, from a school level or a conference level. But if it's a conference level, baby, I don't know how it would work unless it was a deal set up, ready for people to pull the trigger on, with the contingency that Florida State and Clemson would need to leave the courts. And maybe that's what this is all about. Maybe when Ross Dellinger reported that it was expected but not imminent, that Florida State and Clemson would leave the courts because of this deal, maybe it's part of a private capital part of all this. I don't know. But I've been told not to shut the door on this. So I'm not going to shut it anymore. I'm not going to shut it. I'm going to open it up a little bit. Jim Phillips has snuck in. He's got a maroon and gold theater jacket on. He doesn't know we know he's there. But he's in the 40th row. He's sitting in the corner. He's not doing any work. He's just watching Bubba Cunningham and Brett Yormark at the front of the stage. We'll see what happens next. Whatever information I continue to get, I'm going to forward to y'all. But I gotta be honest. You know, we had pretty good information on the Brett Yormark conference level, working on it, right? We knew there was football, athletic departments, presidents who were for this conference-wide investment partnership, strategic partnership, right? We knew Baylor, we knew West Virginia, we've known a couple others. But we didn't know that there was going to be a breaking news story last night. We didn't know that Brett Yormark was on the 5-yard line. We had no idea. We knew they'd been working on it, but we had no idea. And we had no idea that the Big Ten was doing a smaller deal, a different type of deal, but they're working on some deal. We had no idea. And everybody we talked to after that story break, Sportico, nobody knew that. That information was not embargoed to keep it away from me. That information was not known. So what else is not known out there? I don't know. I do not know. Did I get a warning shot? I think I did. When it comes to the ACC, we shall see. I'm going to open up the phone lines. Give us a call here at Peek Around the Corner. The Holy Smokes Theater. We've entered it. Big drama. Brett Yormark, what do you think? What do you think is this deal going to entail? The only thing we've been told is there have been promised business flowing into the Big 12 off this deal. It's not going to be just a loan. It's going to be a partnership with contacts, with sponsorships, with who knows. And is this going to entangle? Is this going to involve UCONN? All that money up there, all those connections up there in New York City. Is all this contingent on UCONN? Is all this contingent on the Big 12 presidents saying yes to a UCONN addition? Something that Brett Yormark wants. He wants UCONN. He wants private capital. He's a believer in UCONN. He's a believer in private capital. He's a believer increasing to the market of UCONN, New York City, getting more East Coast exposure. He's a believer in private capital. Is it all tangled together? We've been told there's a possibility. We've given you that information, but again, I don't know. I don't know. I'm supposed to give you guys the peek around the corner, but we've said from the very beginning, this story, unlike all the other stories that we've either broken or helped break or given you the accurate peek, this ain't like that. This is going to be crazy. A crazy 2025 offseason. I'm very humbled that you have joined us here at Peek Around the Corner. We're going to open up the phone lines right now. Let me have it. We did a would you rather have this quarterback or that quarterback in the Big 12 for the 25 season? That was a lot of fun. If you've missed it, you can go back and watch it. Coos Corner is in the house. Did a fantastic job yesterday. Greg, I am the observer. I am the observer. Jose sitting in the 40th row. We only got 40 rows. We are a very small theater, but a lot of drama happens in that theater. A lot of dramas. The history of the Holy Smokes Theater. My goodness. We did the Big 12 poaching the Pac-12. Colorado was at the center of the stage when most people thought that it was never going to happen. And next to Colorado was Arizona. We've had a lot of drama in the Holy Smokes Theater. And this story, this drama could be the most impactful story. It could change literally everything. The failure of private capital or the success of private capital to the universities of the Big 12 could change everything, could change the future. But I was warned last night. I was warned last night on a long phone call. I was warned. Greg, you go ahead and praise Tony Petitti if you want. And I said, everybody knows I don't really praise Tony Petitti. If I'm talking about Tony Petitti, it's either neutral or I'm giving him a shot. But he said, you can go ahead and praise Tony Petitti. You can go ahead and praise Brett Yormark because, this might go down and he's out in front. There's no question about it. He's been working on it. He's a believer. He sees it work. He sees, all this stuff. But this stuff doesn't happen in a vacuum. If this is like, how do I explain this? This is not a good analogy, but it's the only thing I can think of. That's not a good. It's tip of the iceberg is not a good analogy. Let's say you're watching. When I do a poll. When we give out like a line, like let me show you something here. When we do our weekly predictions, when the PATC Peek Around the Corner family decides who they want to take, let's say we're doing the Iowa State Kansas State game in Dublin, Ireland. Okay. And let's say the first 20 votes come in and 15 people in the PATC family takes Iowa State plus 2.5 and 5 people take Kansas State minus 2.5. And let's say those votes come in within 10 seconds and it's 15-5 Iowa State. Even though I will keep the voting going for another few minutes, pretty much I know who's going to win in the PATC family. It's going to be Iowa State. The latter votes are going to follow the early votes. It's why if you do a poll correctly before an election, if you get enough respondents, if you get enough an accurate portrait of people, the demographics of those who are actually going to vote. That's why all you need is like 400, 500 respondents, and you're going to get a pretty good accurate poll. You do not have to poll 5,000 people, even for a statewide election or a national election. You don't have to poll too many people, right? You don't have to poll too many people. And the early numbers often, when we do our selections, the later numbers actually follow pretty much the same trend. The early voting that's coming on in, the early vote, this is the only analogy I can think of. It doesn't quite work. But the early juice, the early voting in 2025, the invasion of private capital, what we've been talking about since last year. We've been saying it in 2025. The early juice is February 28th, and we're weeks away from a decision for the Big 12. We're only weeks away, and we're going into March. It's happened that quickly. And you've got the Big 10 news that shocked everybody. That means that trend, that voting trend, it's happening quicker than anybody thought. It's out there. That means there's other things going to happen. And it's probably going to be wider spread than we thought. There's going to be more deals than we thought. If this actually is all happening, and part of that inertia is probably the ACC. These things do not happen in a vacuum. That was not a great analogy. It's the only one I could think of at the time. Give us a call here. Give us a call. 763-260-1333. Ryan Willie, the Evil Badger, with an incredible super chat. I'd rather have Carter Smith. Ask Wisconsin's quarterback. Fickle needs to stop relying on portal quarterbacks. Fickle's job is on the line. The board of regents is stupid for auto-renewing contracts. Nobody is knocking down the door to hire Fickle. There is a lot there from the evil Badger, Ryan Willie. Now, okay, Curtis Smith coming in as a very highly recruited, big-time, high-ceiling Curtis Smith. But is Curtis Smith, now I'm just going to ask you this, honestly, Ryan, you really want to put Curtis Smith facing the live bullets on that 2025 Wisconsin Badger football schedule? That schedule is brutal. Curtis Smith might not survive. I would play Edwards. I would start with Edwards. Let Edwards start the season for the Badgers. And now Fickle, I agree with you on Fickle. No way should he have gotten that extension, that renewal of his current contract. No way that should have happened. I agree with you, Ryan Willie. A lot of Badger fans are right with you, as you know. Thank you for the incredible super chat. I do appreciate it, Evil Badger. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Let me go to the comments here. We got no phone calls. We're getting no phone calls. 763-260-1333. Let me check my messages. If UConn was key to unlocking the New York City market, it would be a boom to the Big East right now, and it is not.
Call from
CFB Plus.
CFB Plus, can you hold on for just 1 second? I do appreciate you calling. I just want to, has been, you make a good point. And I don't know if UConn is going to be part of this deal, but I think we're going to have to keep I think we got to keep this, I think we're going to have to adjust here. If private capital is coming on in, if they're pushing millions of dollars in, if they're going to try to work out, if they're going to leverage their contacts with possible some streaming giants, all that New York money, all those contacts they got up there in RedBird Capital is up there. Before, when we looked at expansion candidates, we've looked at a whole bunch of different metrics over the last couple of decades. One of those metrics was the market, right? The market. And the brand, does it have enough support in that market? The size of the market, the intensity of the market, the brand of the football program, how the research capability of the program, the endowment, and all these metrics thrown in together. UConn almost joined the ACC, but they took Louisville. There are some good things about UConn, not some good things about UConn. They haven't been able to make it into a Power 4 conference, and they might not make it in now. But when we got private capital coming into the college athletic space, we're going to have to also include private capital as a metric. We don't know how much we should use it. We don't know how big an influence it is. And we don't know how to take that metric and apply it to potential expansion candidates. But in this case, early on, in the very first case, in the very first case, UConn might be real. That metric, that might work for UConn to get them through the back door, to get them in to the Big 12 conference. I don't know. But I do think so. So the old theory, the old logic that people have always used when it comes to realignment, if it hasn't happened already, why would it happen now? I got the same thing with Oregon and Washington. Why is Oregon and Washington going to go to the Big Ten, Greg, when it didn't happen right away? Got that over and over and over and over again. So sometimes that logic isn't quite sufficient enough, especially when we're going through all these rapid changes in college football. Hopefully that kind of, I know that wasn't a question, that was a good statement, but we might have to make an adjustment. Go CFB Plus. Thanks for calling. The floor is yours.
Thank you. First off, I was, if Oregon and Washington had been added to the Big 12 or Big 10, it's not going to happen. That I was in one of those camps, so I don't know, just can't.
Yeah, it's I think we all use that from time to time, but anyways, go ahead, sir.
So I have kind of, I guess, 2 questions or 2 points, and I'll be pretty brief. But my first point is, if the Big 12 goes with a private capital, does that mean Kansas is locked in the Big 12? Because I know there's been some talk that they might be a potential target for SEC expansion, and if they are, they'd be a pretty big roadblock to getting such a private capital, because they want the private capital would want a pretty lock solid grant of rights or whatever agreement to keep everyone together.
I don't I do not know. I do not know. I don't think anybody knows what type of commitment this deal, if it goes through, I don't know if these Big 12 schools, I don't know if they're going to have to extend their commitment to the Big 12. It's not going to be your standard grant of rights, but maybe some other commitment, some other exit fee, because private capital is going to want all these schools to remain in the Big 12 because that's what they're investing in. It's a great question. I don't know the answer. So I don't know. Maybe Kansas has got a good answer to that question from RedBird Capital and Yormark to say, okay, we'll do this because, Kansas is not going to go to the SEC or the Big Ten anytime soon. Mm-hmm. But, they're a potential future candidate. But if this doesn't extend Kansas' complete commitment to the Big 12, if it doesn't extend it at all, or if it extends it just a couple more years, maybe Kansas is willing to do the deal. Great question. I don't think anyone has the answer.
Okay. Well, thank you. And then my second question is, I think UConn is UConn's a part of this deal, and I think the Big 12 has been pursuing them for quite some time, and I think their connections to the New York City market and the Boston market are particularly advantageous for the Big 12 and a private capital to advertise there. Now, with that being said, are there other schools that have similar but different metrics that private equity might want to include, like a San Diego State or, I don't know, just another university that is closer to a major market that they would want to kind of include in this deal that may be not on the radar?
It very well could be. A school in California would, I think they would have more of an opportunity to be part, to have a plus metric when it comes to private capital,
Or like UNLV, I think would probably be a better example.
Yeah.
Do you think that is a realistic possibility, or is that more of a kind of a Hail Mary situation?
UNLV, that's a Hail Mary, but,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. I was just kind of curious about those two things.
You got it. I appreciate the phone call, my man.
All right. Thank you for the show.
You got it. CFB Plus. Beautiful call. Call again, sir. Just to show Georgia Athletic Director Josh Brooks covers several topics on the Paul Feinbaum show, including his advocacy for the league as a whole to get as many teams in the college football playoff as possible. I believe in the strength of this league, and the strength of this league is the quality from 1 to 16. So I'm always going to advocate for as many of our teams to get in as possible. Josh Brooks, Athletic Director of Georgia, said, also notes, you hate to judge everything based on off 1 year of the 12-team format. It says, well, this is what it is. But I do have concerns. You have recent stories where certain games have been canceled in series. Power 4 matchups out of conference. And there's been comments made to the regard of they didn't think the game would help them, it would only hurt them. That's frustrating to read because that shows the committee probably isn't putting enough weight on the strength of schedule, which only then hurts our fans, hurts our product if we're not able to schedule those games and we have to water down the schedule because our primary focus shifts from quality of competition to quantity of wins, and that's not great for everyone. Josh Brooks to Georgia. Brooks also believes that adding a 9th conference football game would likely mean more revenue from ESPN. Obviously, we got a great brand and the conference is strong. If you look at the viewership reports from college football this year, the SEC was all over it. So we know there's a lot of value there. Again, Georgia Athletic Director Josh Brooks believes that ESPN going to be giving more money to the SEC if they get a 9th conference game. Okay, back to your phone calls. Phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. If you're new to our channel, or if you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to the channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. I very much appreciate you all joining us February 28th on a Friday. Okay. Steel Austin, UConn's best bet is a backfield for teams that get poached from the ACC. Okay, let me see if there's anything else to report on. A lot of baseball is being played tonight. Okay, I think that's it. A whole lot of people aren't seem to want to call tonight, so I understand it's a Friday night. You all want to party tonight. Do something with your significant others. I do appreciate it. We had a very good crowd for a Friday. Thank you so very much. High drama. RedBird Capital has entered the Holy Smokes Theater, and somebody followed. Somebody followed them into the theater. If you missed it, go go back into our show and give it a watch. I do appreciate everybody joining us. I appreciate the incredible generosity of Mr. MBM Oklahoma State Cowboy. Thank you so very much. Helmer Hennison, Michigan Wolverine, and the Evil Badger. Ryan Willie, thank you once again, sir, for your incredible generosity. CFB Plus, thanks for the call, for the comments in the chat room. I thank you guys so very much. Keep your head on a swivel. We're probably going to be coming on live tomorrow, so if there's breaking news, you know what to do. Check for us to come on live, but you got to subscribe and you got to have your notifications turned on to make sure you can make it all happen. I do appreciate all of you. Until next time, from all of us at PATC to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Bill G. Cheese, pizza, and cocktails for the Flugars. Thank you, Bill G, for your incredible generosity. I'll see you guys tomorrow, God willing. See ya.